Hello, everybody, and welcome back to BrownCast Ultra. This is episode 34. I'm Malik,
I'm Kyle.
and we have come back from a long hiatus. It's good to be back, and we are here to talk about the 2016 Oscar nominees.
Oh, yes, we're here to give you our expert opinion on the nominees this year. We actually saw a lot of these movies.
Yeah, we did. We actually, just for those who've been following the channel, we've been doing movie reviews all year. We've actually just managed to catch almost all the movies nominated.
Yeah, I really didn't have to see anything just because it got nominated, besides like maybe the shorts and foreign films, which I have to see in some way. You can see that.
Yeah.
You can usually that stuff. You can see that stuff. For anyone who's wondering, a lot of the most random stuff. It tends to not be too difficult to find.
Yeah, usually a lot of times it's just playing at like a specific location for like a week or two.
Yeah, exactly. It's not impossible though.
Nope. But enough chat about that. We're going to roll in right into our first category, which is film editing.
All right. Okay. I guess I'll read off the nominees. All right. So we have for best film editing, The Big Short, Mad Max: Fury Road, The Revenant, Spotlight, and Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Now, Alec, why don't you tell us a little bit about what film editing actually is? Because maybe that's a little bit ambiguous to some of our listeners.
So, for those who are not quite aware, film editing is essentially the process. I mean, in the layman's terms, you take all the stuff that was shot, all the different takes, all the different cuts, and then you have to try and comprise it into the finished product. The reason why we talk about it during Oscar season is because really, a lot of people don't realize this, that like the editor is one of the biggest creative influences after the camera has stopped rolling to kind of show to what a final product of a movie is going to be.
Yeah.
You know, an editor often gets the first cut and then he sends it off, and then the producers, directors, etc. will want their own version or make a small change or something. But there's a lot of emphasis and pressure on a good editor to know what's the best take, to know where that frame you go away is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And they're definitely like, you know, from a storytelling aspect, they're really like the last like person that like really gets a crack at that story.
Yeah. And so it's just really important. So Kyle, what do you think? If you were to put a guess to it, who do you think would be
I guess I could throw this out as this like as kind of because it's going to be a precursor for a lot of what I think about the nominees this year. I really have a good feeling that Mad Max: Fury Road is going to kind of be the technical winner this year. It's very common, like from year to year, that a single film, which a very technically advanced and well executed film, will end up winning all these awards, like best film editing and all the like the technical and like departmental awards, because the movie was thrown together so well. It tends to not be like different movies winning in different. With different technical categories. Like, for instance, Gravity winning every technical award 2 years ago, and then 12 Years a Slave winning the Best Picture.
Yeah. And, you know, really when you think about it, it makes sense, because with a lot of these movies, when they win one technical award, the reason why they won that one award is because all the other pieces were in play, too.
Yeah.
So it's...
And that's really not even talking about the fact that Mad Max is just such a masterfully edited film, and I imagine they had a ton of... I mean, I don't imagine that. I know that they had a ton of footage to go off of. This was a production that was plagued with problems and was delayed several times. When you watch the movie and you see all the different angles and all the different cuts and how it still manages to not be a chaotic fucking mess.
Yeah, which when if you've ever looked at the behind the scenes of that movie, which I did look at some of that, and you look at some of the pictures where they have real cars driving, and a lot of that stuff was like real stunt cars just getting destroyed and stuff.
Yeah.
when you have to just like be really good. And when you talk about editing, because Mad Max actually is my pick for editing, I would have to say.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just you have to like one frame. If you're like 5 seconds longer on a shot, with the rhythm and the pace of that movie, 5 seconds longer can just ruin, a scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I definitely agree. So, do you have a second place?
My second place, this is a kind of a tie between The Revenant and Star Wars. Now, the reason I say that is because The Revenant is kind of very much this, like, Hollywood darling this year. And Alejandro Iñárritu destroyed it with Birdman, so he's, like, coming back, and this is his big one that's doing really well again. And then I would say Star Wars only because they have a lot of the people that worked on the original Star Wars on this, and Empire, if I'm not mistaken.
I do not know if the editors in particular are.
But Star Wars originally won for editing.
Yeah.
So they may go ahead because it's edited very similar. I mean, that whole movie is like designed to feel like A New Hope. So that they may go with that just to kind of like.
I think this is also showing of a trend that's going to be in your picks. I see you like every single one. You're going to be like, oh, and Star Wars obviously had a chance because I think you're crazy that Star Wars has any chance of winning Best Editing. It was a fine movie, but. Mad Max Fury Road and The Revenant, which I say The Revenant is an honorable mention because of the Revenant was also in its own way a technical achievement in which they filmed it completely chronologically, so from scene to scene to scene, and they filmed it all in natural light, which you have to imagine, it's got to be a nightmare to edit. So. Maybe The Revenant, but it's almost certainly going to be Mad Max Fury Road.
So, with that being said, I think we can both agree on Mad Max.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our next topic, which is costume design, and then that's kind of paired up. They're both two separate, and makeup. I kind of melded them together because they go so hand in hand.
Yeah, they somewhat. I mean, when you look at the nominees for Best Makeup and Hairstyling, it's The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out of the Window and Disappeared. I have no idea what that is.
No idea what that is.
Maybe that might win because of that. Mad Max Fury Road and The Revenant. And then for Best Costume Design, you have Carol, Cinderella, The Danish Girl, Mad Max Fury Road, and The Revenant.
Yeah. So, I would say for makeup, I don't know about this 100-Year-Old Man movie. It'll probably end up winning solely because this is one of the few ones we never got to.
Yeah, that's always how it goes. But
Revenant.
Yeah.
Mad Max ain't winning this. They're all in like they're only slightly better than like the football pads and mohawks of the previous Mad Max.
Yes, exactly. And then going over to Best Costume Design, Revenant once again, but I don't know on this one so much because you also have in this one The Danish Girl and Carol, which are both period films, and the Academy very traditionally loves to hand out Best Costume Design to people who design period costumes and really nail it.
Yeah.
And there's always some every year. I mean, there's many production designers and costume designers, there are many costume designers who specialize in that sort of thing.
Yeah. And also, for those who don't know, when you think about the Academy nominations, this is like a little point, and I'm sure people know it by now, but how the voting works is that the winning vote, not the nominees, is always voted on by people in that industry. So costume is voted by costume people more often. And so that's why they tend to go for periods, because costume people, they know how hard that is or how creative it is, and so they always gravitate towards that.
So on that note, I almost want to say my absolute pick is going to be The Danish Girl on that one.
You're gonna go with the Danish Girl
because the costumes and the art design and the art design are both very good.
I would agree with you because with the Revenant on costumes, it's all like you never see the costumes.
Yeah, the Revenant
much.
has great costumes, and what I'll give to the Revenant is that, because it's being lit completely by natural lighting and filmed very run and gun style, the costumes are really what make the movie believable.
Yeah,
and not just it makes not just like Leonardo DiCaprio running through the forest, because
he doesn't run through the forest. He mostly just rolls around and goes.
But it made it. That's really the only thing making it believable, is that they're all actually dressed in very legitimate pioneer costumes.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess that will move us on to production design. Production design, and this is another one that a lot of people really have a little understanding. Production design is a lot the sets and set dressing and props, I think, will fall under production design.
Yep.
But it's basically everything in the frame that is not the actors.
Yep.
It's production design, and that also goes for like extras and locations and things like that. So, Alec, why don't you give us the nominees?
So for production design, we have Bridge of Spies, we have The Danish Girl, Mad Max Fury Road, The Martian, and The Revenant.
All right, so me first.
You first.
The Revenant is on there because it had good locations, but Danish Girl, absolutely, The Danish Girl had just amazing production design. Very superior production design. Tom Hooper movies tend to have that.
Yeah.
I would say it's absolutely going to be The Danish Girl.
I would agree that Danish Girl is going to win almost certainly. I would like The Martian to win because, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm just a big space nerd, but I like the look of all the space module and being in the little Mars base they had there.
I'll give you that. That's very true, and that would be cool because the space futuristic production design for futuristic movies does not win near as often as period pieces like The Danish Girl do.
Yeah, it's just this one for The Martian. It's just like you have the base, and then you also have their Mars. It's like a truck kind of thing is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, the rover.
Yeah, the rover, and it's like the camera shots in the rover and they all based it off of real NASA technology. So it's really cool that they found ways to think about how NASA does it.
It does. It does come off as extremely realistic. So.
But it'll probably be The Danish Girl.
Yeah. The Danish Girl, great. It really drops you into the art community of Denmark in the 20s. It's oddly specific, but they pull it off so well. That's
the art community of the Danish in the 20s.
In the 20s, yes, it's great. I enjoyed it.
I love that. So for the next one, we are going to go to Best Adapted Screenplay.
Yep, a screenplay adapted for some former work. It's not always a book, but it's almost always a book.
Yeah, it's 9 times out of 10, it's a book.
All right, so we have The Big Short by Adam McKay, Brooklyn by Nick Hornby, Carol by Phyllis Nagy, The Martian by Drew Goddard, and Room by Emma Donahue.
For adapted screenplay, granted, this one's always hard because, obviously, we haven't read all the books to see which is a best adaptation.
Yeah.
I would say...
I want to say, though, it's almost never based upon how well they adapted the screenplay. It's just the writing on its own. But they make it its own category because these ones were actually adapted from something.
Yeah. The logic being that it's slightly easier to adapt something.
Yeah, if the story's already there.
Yeah.
But I will say, this is kind of up in the air. I would put it in between The Martian and The Big Short.
You see, I would actually put it between Martian and Room.
Really?
I don't know. I think
Room is up there for me. I agree. I really enjoy Room. Here's what I think. I think Room deserves to win it, honestly.
Yeah.
But and Room is also, it looks like Room is, I didn't know this, is adapted by the author of the book or former work. So, but I think Room deserves to win, but I think that is more. I'm honestly surprised it was nominated for this category. I think it's more of a nod. And The Big Short is a very interesting adaptation because they adapted a nonfiction book into a more traditional movie narrative.
Yeah, I could see that, especially with like trying to explain, especially because we're trying to explain the financial stuff.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculously confusing stuff. And then The Martian is just really very cleverly written movie.
It is. It's just a good movie. It's a good feel-good movie.
Yeah, and Drew Goddard has been in the game, in the TV game, for a while, so maybe that's just kind of root for him. But
yeah, kind of one of those things off with Academy Awards. You know, there's always that like seniority thing where they're like, they're all so close, but we'll give it to the guy that's been in this for so long.
Exactly, and so that's what I hope. Who do you think? So you're definitely on Room then for adapted screenplay?
I'm on Room or Martian.
Yeah, I really like Drew Goddard. Drew Goddard was the writer pretty much the conception. Drew Goddard pretty much conceptualized the Daredevil Netflix show and wrote most of the episodes.
Very nice, very nice.
So, all right, I guess that will move us on to Best Original Screenplay.
So I'll read these off. We have Bridge of Spies by Matt Sherman, Joel Cohen, and Ethan Cohen. Ex Machina by Alex Garland. Inside Out by Pete Docter, Meg Lefauve, Josh Cooley, and Ronnie Del Carmen. Spotlight by Tom McCarthy and Josh Singer. And Straight Outta Compton by Jonathan Herdman, Andrea Berloff, Esley Savage, and Alan Winkus.
Yeah, this is very interesting. You know, only nomination for Straight Outta Compton, by the way.
You know, because of that, I think Straight Outta Compton is going to win this one.
Just because of that? Oh, I don't know.
Maybe. Well, not just because of that, but also because it did really well.
Yeah, but the writing is very that good. I'm not sure. It's a very well balanced film of that genre, of like the musical biopic.
I would say this: if it doesn't win, I'm gonna point to. I mean, granted, there's no way to ever know this, but if it doesn't win, the reason I'm gonna point to, in my belief, is all because of the fine-tooth combing of like Dre's people and a lot of Cube's people over this script, and they kind of, for those who don't know, they definitely had a big say in the way their characters were portrayed in this movie, because they have, I mean, let's be frank, they have a vested interest in their look.
Yeah.
So, if it doesn't win, that's probably going to be the reason.
Yeah, I think it's more of a nod, if anything, just to that film, because it didn't get nominated for anything else. I think it's up between Ex Machina and Spotlight.
Yeah.
More leaning towards Ex Machina, though, because while Spotlight is a well-written movie and very well-paced, Ex Machina is just the more clever idea.
Yeah, I would agree
movie.
To that.
And Alex Garland is kind of more of a newcomer writer, but it was just that good that I think that maybe he could pull through with an Oscar this year. So I hope so. It was a good movie.
At least we could both agree that in everything, Bridge of Spies is just a nod.
Yeah, well, yeah, pretty much. I mean, if the movie can win off of Joel and Ethan Cohen's writing, I'm pretty sure they're the ones that wrote all the speeches in the movie.
Probably.
And it's really all about the speeches.
Who
that
knows?
what you will, but those are probably the two toughest categories, honestly, to predict. Besides, like, some of the more random stuff. But
well, with that being said, we're gonna move on to the next one, which is visual effects.
All right, and for best visual effects, you have Ex Machina, Mad Max: Fury Road, The Martian, The Revenant, and Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Now, before you get snippy, no. I'm not putting Star Wars ahead of this one. It looks like it's no more impressive than like every other science fiction CGI shenanigans that we've seen in the last like 5 years. So no, I'm not like his lightsaber had a crossguard.
Oh yeah.
It needs to win.
It's like, and Star Wars, because it was such a memorable experience. Like, it's everybody's excuse for Star Wars was.
But they used practical effects.
Yeah, no, they're definitely this one. Going on when I was talking about in the best film editing category, this one's definitely going to go to Mad Max.
Almost certainly. The Revenant, that's on there for a nod. There's not that many special effects.
Yeah, the special effects, and I don't know about
I mean,
that.
I like to joke about it, but I mean, there was, like, the guns are all stuff that they've been doing for, like, 50, 60 years with guns.
And the visual of Ex Machina is, that's, like, kind of more of a nod to the team that did the robot effects, which it looked very green screened to me. It's a low budget movie, and they still managed to do some cool visual stuff with it, so they get a nod.
Yeah, with Ex Machina, I feel that more gets the nod just by the fact that they were very resourceful with it,
There you go.
It's like, it doesn't look better than, like, any other movie that's come out. It doesn't look like better than the Iron Man suit. That's a good example.
Exactly.
But they instead, like, didn't ever use, like, focus on it and stuff. So you don't, like, you really don't notice it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that'll bring us to basically your category, Alec. Best animated film.
Yep, so for this we have Anomalisa, Boy in the World, Inside Out, Shaun the Sheep movie, and When Marnie Was There. Here's my thing. And this one we can do really short. The one that should win is Anomalisa. Mm-hmm. Because that's a really, really, really ambitious project with a good story.
Yeah, I feel like Anomalisa is getting shafted by being thrown into Best Animated, but I mean, it is what it is.
I would agree with you there, but I will say this: it won't win because now I can't. There's no guarantee on this, as all things. There's no fine black or white, but it almost certainly won't win because with animated film, the animated feature category, I've always felt it's very politically decided, and so they're not going to give the award to a movie that people can't take their kids to.
There you go.
And it's just a big deal. I think Inside Out will probably win this one because, like, Boy in the World did not get a wide release, so no one really saw it, and it's a really crazy looking movie. I've seen about half of it, and it's just a really, like, crazy movie. It's got a cool art style, but apart from that, it just never got big. And then Shaun the Sheep is nothing.
Shaun the Sheep.
Yeah, it's Shaun the Sheep.
There's a lot of words to say.
And
then Disney always wins this
and
award.
Then there's the token Studio Ghibli film that just guaranteed gets a nomination no matter what quality it is.
There you go. I guess that'll move us on to Best Cinematography.
Best Cinematography. So for Best Cinematography, we have Carol, The Hateful Eight, Mad Max Fury Road, The Revenant, and Sicario.
I have to say, going along with my previous statements, this is probably going to go to Mad Max Fury Road. While I think that Mad Max is really just going to clean up in the technical department, but possibly The Revenant.
Yeah, I would agree with The Revenant has a good chance because of the whole filming in order with natural lighting on location.
Yeah,
and that's such a challenging thing to pull off, and the fact that they did may actually get them a lot of points on this one.
Exactly, and movies like so Sicario, Roger Deakins is one of the longest, most legendary cinematographers in the business today. Something like 50 years or something like that. And he, that's more of a nod, but Sicario, even though Sicario was awesome. And The Hateful Eight, once again, interesting Tarantino framing. But still just a nod. Carol, You know,
Carol.
they just nominate Carol to nominate Carol for the most part.
Yeah, so. I kind of felt that too. Carol is Carol is Carol. But Kyle, The Hateful Eight was filmed in glorious 70mm.
It was really cool, and it's really cool. They do use the 70mm format to. They use it in a very unique way to compose their shots in order to tell the story better. It's really cool. All right, so that moves us on to the most important categories, or at least most people, the most popular categories, the acting categories. So we'll start out with Best Supporting Actress, which Jennifer Jason Leigh for The Hateful Eight, Rooney Mara for Carol, Rachel McAdams for Spotlight, Alicia Vikander for The Danish Girl, and Kate Winslet for Steve Jobs.
You know what? For this, I gotta go with Vikander.
Yeah, Vikander. I almost want to say it's a lock. Kate Winslet's been doing very well. Mostly between those two. Jennifer Jason Leigh was really good, but I think that's her nod this year. I think Kate Winslet's been winning it and the other awards, but they don't necessarily, especially with things like Best Supporting Actress, the Academy doesn't always go the same way.
Yeah.
Either one of them deserve it. Only one can win it. It'd be really cool to see Alicia Vikander, I think, being more of a newcomer, to see her win an Oscar, like Jennifer Lawrence style. But at the same time, Kate Winslet was really good in a movie that did really bad.
Yeah. Something good's got to come from that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. My thoughts exactly. So, Alec, thoughts? You think
thoughts? I'm going Alicia Vikander, man.
All the way.
Dude.
She really pulled that movie together. It would not have her role was very crucial to the story.
I mean, with The Danish Girl, they're gonna give, like, for acting. Like, it's either her or Redmayne for what he's nominated for. But, like, they're gonna give...
it's not gonna be Redmayne, so...
it's not.
Go, but we'll get
we
to
all
that.
saw Jupiter Ascending.
All right, so that'll move us to Best Supporting All right, so that'll move us to Best Supporting Actor.
So for that, we have Christian Bale in The Big Short. We have Tom Hardy in The Revenant. Mark Ruffalo in Spotlight. Mark Rylance in Bridge of Spies. And Sylvester Stallone in Creed.
So something I think everybody, so Sylvester Stallone being nominated was something that I feel like everybody at first thought was a nod, but then he's been, like, winning awards for this role. And now it's a little more likely that he's going to win it. I almost want to say it's a lock for Sylvester Stallone.
Think so?
From your tone, I can tell that you don't.
Granted, maybe this is because I've not really, like, kept up with any of the other award stuff for what he's been winning and what's been said about that. I would think more they would give it to, like, Tom Hardy for The Revenant, because in The Revenant he's like a way bigger character and he has lots of scenes and lots of really good moments in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, he's not even better than Mark Ruffalo in Spotlight, though, is what I would say. And I don't even know what Christian Bale's doing there. Christian Bale, that's one of those ones that makes people angry, because there are roles, like, for instance, Idris Elba for Beast of No Nation, and people who could have been nominated. Christian Bale, because he wasn't that great.
Yeah, in the trailer, he's not wearing shoes and throwing a tennis ball, and basically just being Christian Bale.
Yeah, it's how Christian Bale is in real life.
So let's move on to the next one, which is Best Actress in a Leading Role.
All right, Cate Blanchett from Carol, Brie Larson, Room, Jennifer Lawrence, Joy, Charlotte Rampling, 45 Years, and Saoirse Ronan, Brooklyn.
So, this is one I was going to go with Brie Larson for Room.
Yeah, that's a lock.
That's what I was thinking.
It's gonna be Brie Larson for Room.
Just based
when
on
I watched, and it's funny because when I watched Room, I wasn't thinking of it like, wow, this is going to be an Academy Award-winning performance. But then once you had the list in front of you, it's the obvious. It was the obvious choice. I think Cate Blanchett, they pretty much nominate for everything now. She's like the new Meryl Streep. Yeah. Jennifer Lawrence, I don't know what. I've been a J-Law fan from the beginning, but I think the fixation on her is getting a little overboard because Joy wasn't that great.
No, definitely not. So I think since we can agree on that, let's move to Best Actor.
Best Actor, once again, locked. It's funny that the Best Actress and the Best Actor are pretty much locks, but Best Actor, and it's Leo's year.
It's Leo's
year this year.
Let's say the other nominees are Bryan Cranston for Trumbo, Matt Damon for The Martian, Michael Fassbender for Steve Jobs, and Eddie Redmayne for The Danish Girl. But it's gonna be DiCaprio.
Yeah, but it's gonna be Leo. It's
gotta be Leo
for The Revenant.
He ate enough raw meat. He's earned it.
Yeah, he did a really great role, and just the way the competition is this year with his competition. I mean. It's he's got it. He's got it in the bag. He doesn't have to worry about it.
If they give it to Redmayne, I will be upset.
Yeah, that would be quite the curveball. All right, so that'll take us to probably the most contentious, I think, this year, which is Best Director.
Best Director. So we have Adam McKay for The Big Short, George Miller for Mad Max Fury Road, Alejandro G. Iñárritu for The Revenant, Lenny Abrahamson for The Room, and Tom McCarthy for Spotlight. So, I want George Miller to win this.
Well, you're in luck because you say you haven't been keeping up with anything. I think he has been winning it.
You think so?
Yeah, I think, I wasn't as confident at first, but now I feel much more confident that I think maybe because when the nominees came out, The Revenant had just come out.
Yeah.
That I thought, oh, wow, Alejandro G. Iñárritu might win it for a second year in a row. But at the same time, when I first saw the list, I wanted to say George Miller was almost the obvious winner there because the movie was so well directed and he's been in the game for so long.
Exactly.
That they would go ahead and, I don't know, give it to him. I mean, Lenny Abrahamson... That's obviously just a nod, because then, him being nominated for Room, that's a huge surprise.
Yeah.
Adam McKay, that's a phony.
There again, that's just more
it's like, why Adam McKay for The Big Short? That movie it was cleverly directed, but not great. And then Tom McCarthy, Spotlight, I don't know, probably the most. Spotlight to me, I thought was the best movie of the year. Even better than The Revenant, and yes, Alec, even better than Star Wars.
Well, you're wrong. So
so I would give it to Tom McCartney in a heartbeat, but I think it's gonna go to George Miller.
Yeah, Alejandro, we love you, but you won it already.
Yeah, and The Revenant was also very well directed. I mean, the whole movie pretty much hinges on his directing and his vision. I'm sure the budget had skyrocketed, though, because of his direction and vision.
Probably.
But so did Mad Max, for that matter. So, all right, so that'll take us to the big one.
Best Picture!
All right, where we have The Big Short, Bridge of Spies, Brooklyn, Mad Max Fury Road, The Martian, The Revenant, Room, and Spotlight.
So, I think, honestly, I think Revenant's going to win Best Picture.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's pretty much got it in the bag. I mean, I think Spotlight should win, but going by what the other award shows have been doing and kind of the buzz around it, it's been all about Mad Max and The Revenant.
Yeah.
In the end, so
I would say it's nice that they did The Martian as a nod for,
It was such a great movie. Yeah, it was one of the best movies of the year. Absolutely.
Yeah, but compared...
So was Room.
Yeah.
For that matter.
But compared, The Revenant is just... and this isn't even like The Revenant's a good movie, but it was like so different and so ambitious and so like out there compared to what you usually see for movies.
Long is the word you were looking for.
And it's just those kind of movies with Best Picture, the ones that are really stand out as far as like what comes out the rest of the year. Those are always like the best contenders.
Exactly. So,
and especially if they don't give Alejandro director, then it's almost certain they'll give him Best Picture. Now, if he wins director, it might go to Spotlight or The Martian.
Yeah.
Like if they give him, I don't see them giving whoever gets director also Best Picture in this case.
Yeah, it was the case last year. Probably not the case this year.
Yeah, they don't often do that. Like,
and like I said, I think that Best Director is going to be George Miller. But Mad Max Fury Road is not a Best Picture.
No, it's not. It's not Best Picture
by any mean.
Revenant
is more of a Best Picture winner, and the Best Picture of the year was Spotlight. So.
Kyle,
did
they have lightsabers in Spotlight? Then it wasn't the Best Picture.
No, just fantastic speeches. And well-paced drama. All right, so that clears it, I think. Did you have more thoughts on the Best Picture?
No,
nominees?
Not on Best Picture.
So I guess we hope that we're right, but we hope that the proper movies are honored. But we also can maybe take a moment to talk about the inequality of the Oscars.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's a complicated subject. I think that it's been a very, very controversial this year.
It's definitely been a big deal.
Mostly because it happened last year and it was kind of taken as a joke, and then it happened again, and now it's not a joke, and now it's not funny. And I agree with that. I get that. The lack of diversity it's not very representative of of Hollywood today, of the film industry today. And it probably should be. Has it been done maliciously? No.
No, that's something I think a lot of people are getting way too overworked. It's like, this was not a seedy Hollywood plan. This was more than likely, this was just no one at the Academy, when they were making this list, there's just
really not any kind of oversight. It's just votes and nominations.
Yeah.
So, they count the ballots, and the problem is the members that comprise of the Academy, and the lack of diversity in the Academy. So basically, the idea is that the demographics of the Academy are not matching up with the demographics of the industry. And that is what has got to change. And I feel like they at least said they're going to take measures, and they've listed specific things that they're going to change.
Yeah.
In order to help to remedy this problem. So I don't hate the Academy too much for it. But then again, I'm not a minority. And so it's very easy for me to say, oh, it's no big deal. Whereas, there are many black filmmakers out there that make great movies, and, I get that there needs to be some changes.
Yeah, and we can even then we can still agree. Yes, like we said with like the whole supporting supporting with like Christian Bale and stuff, where it's like there are some nominations where it's like you're obviously like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's not like there wasn't enough space because there are some people nominated that shouldn't have been nominated, and maybe more deserving. Yeah, especially in the acting categories where there's some black actors that could have definitely deserved to be nominated, and there were some great performances, and they like Straight Outta Compton and Beast of No Nation.
Yeah. Now with Beast of No Nation, some of that is probably also to do with the fact it's a Netflix original movie.
Yeah, I have. It's way too easy to believe that there's a bias against Netflix, which is kind of challenging the status quo right now in the industry.
Yeah. It's a big thing of contention in the underbelly of
because
this.
It's weird that it wasn't even nominated or mentioned or anything.
Yeah, because my thought on that is also they could have just looked at it and go, oh, well, if it's Netflix, then it's obviously like HBO and it's a TV movie. We don't have to.
Yeah,
we don't have to acknowledge it. The Emmys needs to deal with it,
and the Golden Globes and things like that.
Yeah, so it's really just like no one knows where to put these kinds of movies and stuff. That's kind of some of it, but it's it's one of those things. I think people should not get overworked about it. You should care.
You should care, and you should. I mean, I feel like the fact that the movement happened was a good thing.
Yeah.
Because what else would have changed? There would have been no change if people didn't get upset. So if you were one of those who got upset, good job. Like, this is what you have to do. This is what you have to do to invoke change in anything, much less the movie industry.
Yeah.
And it's up to us as a younger generation of filmmakers and film goers to enact positive change.
Yeah, which that's kind of the key thing. Is like you have to be positive in the way you're trying to change, and you have to keep with it. That's something else too. It's like all these people that got upset and stuff. It's like you have to also like keep with this and like pay attention. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll be back here again next year.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where we don't want to be. So.
That's where we don't want to be, and the Academy doesn't want to be there. They don't want to get yelled at.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that will do it for our Academy Awards podcast. We'll probably be back to talk about the winners, and hopefully there'll be more episodes to come, and maybe even a website of sorts.
Yeah, not to mention, I've got some more independent audio nonsense coming out here pretty soon too, so...
Thank you to everyone who stayed here and listened to our podcast and has been keeping up with it all this time. We really appreciate your support. It's nice to know we're not doing this for completely nobody, to be perfectly honest. So thank you and keep listening. We'll keep it going for you.
This has been BrownCast Ultra. I am Alec.
I'm Kyle.
Thanks for listening.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.